Okay, hello everybody. I think it should be working right now. Okay, I hope you can all see my screen. If I can get some confirmation from you on the chat, would be great. Great, thanks. I'll give it like a minute or two for everybody to join. So we'll start in like a minute or so. In the meantime, feel free to use the chat. Okay, I've seen that people are still joining us, so I'll give a few more seconds. Okay, so I think that everybody who wanted to join us already have done so. So, first of all, hi, I'm Maciej Stasiewuk, and I'm really happy that you joined my talk today to hear about the story of Vazco and our story with Meteor. Vazco is a company I'm part of from many years now, and also for many years, Meteor is something that is really close to our heart, very important for us. And I think that our story, while may not be very unique, it could be very interesting for you. So this is why we wanted to share you on this conference. But first of all, I should give you a little context about who we are. So Vazco is a software house focusing mostly on startups. So in the early stages of the development, we like to keep our tech stack on the bleeding edge, and we really like new innovative projects that require an out-of-the-box approach. So not like a next CRUD application, but something that is quite unique, quite fun to work with. Maybe we're not a big company, but we're really tech-oriented, mostly because most of our are actually developers in the company. So this also dictates the atmosphere over here. We're based in Wrocław, a beautiful city located in Poland, but currently, due to the situation, we're working fully remotely, as probably most of you are doing right now. Also, feel free to use the chat, ask questions along as we go. I'll try to look at the chat for the whole time, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask them anytime. Okay, so how our journey with Meteor has actually begun. We're really early adopters of Meteor. I personally started playing with Meteor around version 0.4 back in 2012. To give you some context of the situation back then, there was no security whatsoever. Everybody could freely read and modify the database, just like with an insecure package, always on. Reading release notes from back then can bring some memories back. For example, some of you remember what Spark actually was. I'm really interested. You can also write on the chat. If you do remember, or for example, when your journey with Meteor started, this is also something that's really interesting for me. When do you join this nice community? The security layer and accounts were actually added later on in 0.5. And back then, we were looking for a framework to replace our current stack that we used at the time, which was mostly PHP on the backend and jQuery or Backbone on the front end. So we decided to give Meteor a try because we were really looking for something new and more effective way to write apps. And not far longer, on 0.6, we released our first production app. And from the technological perspective, it was really a great success. So this was actually the moment that we as a company heavily invested in Meteor. And actually, this is true up to this day. So we never stopped using Meteor since then. Moving fast forward to 2014, Meteor is now a platform, our platform of choice, and we built basically all of new projects based on it. In the preparation for the big 1.0 release, there was a worldwide Meteor Day organized in over 100 cities around the globe on the same day. We are proud to be part of it as well, organizing a meetup in Wrocław with over 70 attendees, which is a really pretty nice result for a meetup in our city. So this shows how much Meteor was popular back then, even though it was still pretty a new framework. Also, do you maybe have some memories with the Meteor Day? It was really a big event. Probably most of you take some part in your city. So for the whole time, since then, we were trying to be an active part of the community, not only during the 1.0 launch, but also for the in the meantime, for the whole time, we do it in many different ways. For example, we organize meetups. Meteor Day wasn't the only meetup that we have organized. We have several of them with a usual attendance of 30 people and a very friendly and active local Meteor community. Not only us, but in the Wrocław itself, I believe there was 5 or 6 software houses back in the time that use Meteor heavily in new projects. So we built also a pretty nice community. We help each other. This is one of the reasons why Meteor is so valuable to me. That the community was always great and welcoming. We're also trying to spreading the word. So we go to other meetups and conferences talking about Meteor, why you should use it, why it's better. This is how much we like it and we actually believe in it to go and spread the word to others. We were also spending lots of time teaching about Meteor to new developers. Our free bootcamps were very popular and a huge success. There were several editions of them with over 100 attendees in total. Some of them spanned over few weeks for like a few days in total, spanned over a few weeks. So this was like not a one-time thing, but rather something much bigger. We're targeting mostly IT students, and over here you can see an example of a poster that we put at the local university. So yeah, it was fun time. Really, we learned as well lots of it while we also learn others. So while we teach others. So yeah, a great time, and we actually still doing this, trying to do this. And last but not least, we contribute back to the packages community. So most of them under the Universe branding, which was our take on making a set of compatible packages ecosystem within the Meteor. While none of them was extremely popular, there is a chance that you were or still using one of them today. So if so, we're really happy that we could help. We were dogfooding all of them in our projects. And to be honest, some of them were very specific, maybe too specific for a general use case. But because we owe open source so much, we decided to give back as much code as possible. So basically, we open source a lot of our code that we do on a daily basis. Okay. I'm checking the chat if there are some comments on this section. Yes, some people even recognize themselves on the picture. And actually, there is one notable exception to our packages. Uniforms, which is a library for building forms from a schema, for example, from a simple schema. While it was never a pure Meteor package, actually Meteor was the only dependency and it was released on NPM, not Atmosphere. It was born and used, especially in the beginning, only within the Meteor project. The history here is that we really liked autoforms for Blaze. And once we switched as a company from Blaze to React, we really were missing such solution to build forms in a declarative way. So this is our take on actually solving the same problems, but for React. Because this is a really broad topic, and I don't want to sidetrack the presentation too much, make sure to attend the talk about uniforms that Radek, the uniforms author, will give tomorrow. So it's called Schema Form Meet Uniforms. It's tomorrow at the same time, I believe, and I can guarantee that it will be interesting. Of course, we would not be able to do all of those things if we don't have a thriving company to back this up. Since we adopted Meteor as our primary framework of choice, the company tripled in size, and we have done many successful projects since. While I cannot actually share with you everything, the most interesting projects are covered by NDAs. Usually is how it works. There are a few cases that I can talk about, and I want to show it to you. So one of our proudest products is aleno, a reservation management system for restaurants. Basically, an all-in-one solution if you want to manage your restaurant or your reservations, either online reservations or walk-ins. So we got a solution for you. It's extremely popular right now, and a huge success. It's live on production for 5 years now. It's using Meteor since day one from the beginning, and lots of changes have been made since then. For example, it was using Blaze, we redirected to React, but never there was a moment that we need to stop the world completely, like stop actual development, halt it to make some kind of refactoring or changes. No, it was always a gradual changes. And this is something that I believe Meteor was a great help to achieve this. Other interesting things about the product is that we have a pretty advanced continuous integration and deployment processes with frequent deploys, even a few times a day. And we're always up to date, usually even with pre-release or release candidate versions of Meteor to make to make sure that everything works smoothly. And we also like a little risk over there. Also, very interesting thing is that we have a public API, both REST and GraphQL. So yeah, this can be done efficiently with Meteor. So we can have this kind of API served by Meteor and actually work pretty well and scale pretty well, because the app works and scales pretty well even under high traffic. There are over 1 million guests each month supported by the platform. So this is actually a decent load, and with the help of Galaxy, we're able to scale without any issues. Okay, I've seen there are some questions. Okay, I see that Radek take over answering the questions. That's great, especially that he's the best person to answer them regarding aleno. Next product that I want to showcase to you is Clozer, which is a mobile app that helps salespeople get new contacts and accelerate sales. It's backed heavily by machine learning to help to do so. So it's also a Meteor since its inception. but this time the focus is put mostly on the mobile app, so it's using the Cordova integration. There is also a web version, but the general usage is on the go. What is interesting here, and not quite popular for the most of the Meteor applications, is that it's really enterprise heavy. So a lot of advanced forms, uniforms is a very valuable asset here to manage this. Lots of integrations with different services, Salesforce and whatsoever. And mostly the real value comes from the artificial intelligence and machine learning features that can be integrated into Meteor, basically Meteor making use of them, providing the actual value to the customers. So it's also always up to date with Meteor. Meteor is also a great addition to the product, and you can check it out if you're interested. Actually, we have many more applications that we have delivered over the years, and well, I could spend the whole talk talking about them. And all of those apps are trying to solve different problems in different industries, provide different values to their customers, but all of them have one thing in common. Basically, we use Meteor to move forward with them to deliver the actual value, and we never regret it. So this is an example of how flexible Meteor as a platform is, how much it can handle, how different scenarios, how different solutions, and still be great at it. It's not only pure development. Over the years, we have also done lots of consulting, helping other Meteor apps solve their problems when they arise. As you can probably imagine, the most popular problems were related to scaling. And people often think that Meteor does not scale. And this is simply not true. Sure, a particular app can be written in a bad way and may be impossible to scale, but this is something that usually can be fixed. And the same goes for our other sort of problems. So I know that everything is easier once you have done it before at least once. So this is why we're very happy to share the knowledge with others in this regard. So over the years, we've built lots of internal knowledge how to solve the problems. And the key takeaway, if there is one thing that I want you to take from this presentation, is that we actually never dropped Meteor from an actively developed project. There was simply no need for doing so. We could always find a way to solve our problems. And this is also a big part of why we love Meteor so much. So this is like a very important thing to me, because usually many people, many companies quite often drop the support for it because, well, it cannot do something and we need to do a rewrite or something like this. And we have proven over the years many times that it is a really scalable and powerful platform, and it's really important to think twice before, because this kind of change, well, sometimes may be necessary, but there probably are solutions to do it within the Meteor. So, like I mentioned, we really like to help others. So if you have some of the problems that I've mentioned, if you're familiar with them, maybe you have them on your project, feel free to contact us, and probably we could work out a solution. So you can find more details on vazco.eu/meteor. But also the same goes other way around. So if you really like Meteor and work with it more, maybe on your daily basis, also contact us and maybe we can figure something out together. Okay, let me check the chat. Okay. So maybe some closing thoughts on our plans for the future. So while Meteor takes a special place in our hearts, we're no longer a Meteor-only company. Our technological stack has evolved in the meantime, drifted toward GraphQL and other solutions. As I suppose a lot of your product have done. This is quite a popular direction. We're not unique in this regard. And we also learned that Meteor is not a solution for everything. It's a great fit for some problems, but there are cases when some alternatives are better. Basically, in the end, it's important to get the best tool for the job. And well, the elephant in the room is that the Meteor get less and less attention over the years, in the last few years. And this also affects us and our decisions on the technological stack that we use on a daily basis. But starting with the tiny acquisitions a year ago, everything seems to go in the right direction. And I really like personally where this is going. And I'm sure that we're going to stick with Meteor for the time being. So yeah, it's really important to pick the best tool for the job. Meteor is probably not always the best tool. It also has some limitations that is good to be known of. But especially in the early stages for the startups, MVPs, for example, this is something that it shines and outruns, well, basically outruns the competition for a mile. Okay, we are a little. We can now move to the Q&A section. I know that we're a little earlier because I wanted to have a little more time for this module. So let me quickly scroll through the chat. Okay, for the CI/CD, the continuous integration is already answered that we use TeamCity, but lately we lately moved to GitHub Actions, and we're basically migrating all of our projects to GitHub Actions lately. Okay, for the REST API, yeah, we build it on the top of the internal connect, the web app part of the Meteor. Do you use React in all of your apps, or do you still use Blaze in some of them? Currently, in our actively developed projects, we use React in all of them. I hope I'm not mistaken here, but probably I'm not. So yeah, we start all of new projects in React because this is also a framework for the front end of choice. But quite often we get a product written in Meteor that was written by someone else, and then they move to us. And if it's, for example, already written in Blaze, it's not like we need to do a rewrite right now or something. Like Blaze is still a nice product. It got its place on the market. There are some cases where it's actually pretty good, maybe even better than React for the simple case. For the most simple cases, I believe it's true. But the power of the ecosystem of React is, well, something that it's hard to ignore, and basically it's much more productive to use React because it's much more popular, and a lot of the problems are solved either by some kind of libraries or different way. Where we're located? Yeah, we're located in Wrocław, Poland. It's in Eastern Europe. Okay, I've seen that some of the questions were already answered on the chat. What limitations of Meteor have caused you to pick other technologies for some projects? Okay, so about the limitations, if we know that, for example, the reactive part is not a crucial part of the app. So, for example, if the app is based on real-time principles, then Meteor is well, something that we usually pick for this kind of project. But in case some products really don't care about real-time updates, or actually are a really smart portion of it, but needs to be scalable much more from the day one, then, for example, going with like a pure GraphQL solution may be better. So it always depends on the use case. Yeah, but mostly the limitations of Meteor, why we not use it in new projects, is mostly because we don't need all of the features that Meteor provide. If we want to go more lean, then this is why sometimes we do something more from scratch. But I really like where Meteor is going right now with the lean core project and everything. Dropping all of the dependencies on the, for example, on MongoDB or other parts that used to be the core and may not be needed by every project. So I believe that soon Meteor could be really used as a building tool for projects that we would not use Meteor for some time ago. Can you mention one thing you don't like about Meteor? Okay, that's a hard question. Hard to say, because it's maybe it's not the things I don't like about Meteor, is rather things that other solutions do better. So, like I mentioned, it's just always a way of balance the best tool for the job. And sometimes Meteor is just not the best tool. And in those cases, well, I don't like it about Meteor, because I would really love for Meteor to be the best tool for the job, but sometimes it just isn't. And this is maybe the thing I don't like about this. Do you guys use MongoDB aggregations? If so, do you recommend any package for that? Actually, I don't know if... yeah, I know that rather good answer this on the chat. Yeah, actually, we have a pretty nice package for it. So we have a package called SparrowQL. You can find it on our GitHub. So it's github.com/vasco/SparrowQL. And it does exactly that. It solves really complex MongoDB aggregations in a declarative fashion. So we're not promoting this package very much, but if you have this kind of use case when you need to build aggregations in a declarative way, maybe some automated way, depending on the different conditions. So not like a hard-coded way, but instead something that is done dynamically on some different use cases, for example, some complicated report generations or something like this, then yeah, you should check out SparrowQL on our GitHub, and probably you'll like it. It also has a GraphQL integration, so basically it's another package on top of it, and basically you can have a nice GraphQL endpoint to automatically build aggregations to get the data from MongoDB, and this can also be served by the Meteor, because Meteor is actually pretty nice at serving GraphQL. Okay, next questions. Besides Meteor and GraphQL, what other technologies have you started using, and what was the use case that did not fit Meteor, if you can disclose? Other technologies besides Meteor and GraphQL, well, one of the other main technologies that we have invested in is React Native. So sometimes it's much more effective to actually build a native app, not a Cordova wrapper. So we've been using React Native for the mobile apps for some time now. So we have both, like Cordova-based Cordova-based mobile applications. We have also used Capacitor. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's also a Cordova type of approach. It's also quite nice solution. And React Native, if you want to go with like a pure native feeling, for example, if you need lots of pure native modules, and some of our applications, React Native applications, actually use Meteor as a backend. So it's using DDP accounts, everything, and it also worked pretty nice. So this is something that also may be interesting for some of you, that it can be done. It can be done quite efficiently. How well do you get along with Cordova? Depends. It's a difficult love, difficult love story. But in the end, yeah, we usually are able to get what we need from it. Minus the cases when we actually start with React Native from the beginning. So I don't believe we have done any rewrites. So if the project was using Cordova, it's still using Cordova, but some new projects we just decided to, some greenfield projects, we decided to start them with React Native. Okay, so there are links for SparrowQL on the chat. Do you use, what packages are you using for routing? Do you use server-side rendering and code splitting? And yeah, okay. So basically, for routing, for the client-side routing, because we use React, we usually use React Router or Rich Router. For the server-side rendering, we don't do this using Meteor, at least I'm not aware of. Maybe one of the projects are actually doing this, but I'm maybe not aware of it. And code splitting, yeah, with Meteor, dynamic import is actually pretty nice thing to have. Next question: when you have started using Capacitor, how are the chances to substitute Cordova in the future? Actually, we use Capacitor in different on a non-Meteor project. So I never tried to actually combine it with Meteor, but this probably would be a very interesting approach to actually use the building process of Meteor and actually swap Cordova with Capacitor. And not sure if the gains are actually worth the effort that this would require, but yeah, for sure, this is something that may be an interesting approach. React Router, or yeah, the second was Rich Router, which is a router from the same guys that created React Router. So basically, an experiment, an alternative approach for React Router. Yeah, and like Jan Vorek just mentioned, they are merging both of them in the next release of React Router. Okay, and I see there are some more questions in the post section. So what is the biggest target audience for your apps? Enterprise? Well, enterprise is a big share of it. I think the biggest, well, depends, because we built lots of different apps in different industries. Most of them are kind of software as a service products. So we build them using Meteor. And so the audience, the final audience, depends on the actual customers of our customers. So this is a really different user groups there. And we do have some enterprise projects made for like world applications dedicated for use internally in some bigger companies. So we also have done them. But because we really like I mentioned, new innovative applications. We try to do more startups and applications that actually maybe are more risky in their nature, but can also is much more fun to work with, and well, can actually make some difference to the world. So this is actually exactly the kind of apps that we like to work with. Are you hiring remote developers? Depends. If you ask this question before pandemic, I would say that this is very limited. But right now, we're more flexible. We were always quite flexible with remote work, but we like to work from our office to well, meet on a daily basis and so on. But right now, well, you can try to. I don't know who asked this question because I believe it's anonymous. But yeah, feel free to contact us and we can work this out. What are your thoughts on Meteor 2.0? I really like it. I can't wait it. This is also a nice milestone because this is a first big release that Tiny is making after the acquisition, and yeah, I really like where this is going. So I can't wait for the next talk today. The guys from the actual core contributors. So I hope that they will reveal something today. So I also can't wait for it. Can you share your slides? Yeah, sure. I can share it on the Slack. I will, on the chat. Sorry, I'll do it in a moment. Okay, I believe those are all of the questions. What's the story behind your GitHub username? Well, actually, this is my nickname I use since a kid. So basically, I don't know. Once I got Amiga, I need to get some kind of usernames in the games, and I use it ever since. So it's basically like almost 30-year-old nickname. And I use it everywhere. I'm really easy to really easy to stalk. Yeah, Mac is first 3 letters of my name. It's Maciej in Polish, and Russia is just a kind of gameplay I usually do in action games. So yeah, this kind of combination. Yeah, example Russian B. but this was long before Counter-Strike, but yeah. Okay, so if we have some, he also likes to run Among Us, yeah. I can confirm. Okay, but if there are no more questions, thank you for the talk. Thank you for a very active Q&A session. It was really fun to talk to you. I hope that is also interesting showing our showcase of our company, that we actually exist, that there is such company somewhere in the world that still believes in Meteor, still likes to work with Meteor. I know that this is quite comforting for some. If there are other companies that lay low but also use Meteor on daily basis and still like to do it, also please let us know, because this is really nice have to get more of this awareness that Meteor is still alive and popular, because it is, but because lot of the companies actually lay low, then it's really important to make showcases like this to share to share the knowledge about that such companies exist. Okay, so thank you for your talk. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope to talk to you at some other occasion soon. Thanks.